Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
The name say ano pay say wasan maye akwanje bio na yeshia ewo live so. Pepel so ye do no eja dwumadi ni hye Sister Mavis, Dcns Mavis, Jane Ensa. Amen.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
This morning we want to thank God so much for bringing us together one more time as a family fighting the same cause. Throughout the week, we are on the battlefield. If I have made you watchmen, it's taken from Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 7. This morning, I'm going to speak on a sub theme. Be a watchman or a watchwoman for your home. Be a watchman or a watchwoman for your home. And we are going to look at Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 7 to 14. I'm going to read through just real quick. I'm reading from Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 7 to 14. It says, "Now then Tobiah, Arad, the Ammonites, and the people of Ashdod heard that the repairs of Jerusalem's wall had gone ahead and that the guards were great, they were very angry. They all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and stir up trouble against it. But when we prayed to go to our God and posted a guard day and night to meet the threat. Meanwhile, the people in Judah said, the strength of the laborers is given out, and there is so much rubble that we cannot rebuild the wall." 11. Also our enemies said, before they know it or see us, we will be right there among them and will kill them and put an end to the work. Then the Jews who lived near them came and told us, time over. Whenever you turn, they will attack us. Therefore, I stationed some of the people behind the lowest point of the wall and the exposed places, posting them by family with their swords, spears, and bows. 14. After I looked things over, I stood and said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your family, your sons, and your daughters, your wife, and your home. Hallelujah. This morning, there is a reason why we have gathered on this line. We have gathered here for a revelation. Many a times we take things for granted. We fail to recognize the world that we find ourselves. We do not fight against flesh and blood. And when we fail to recognize this fact, we will find ourselves in trouble. Families and homes are important to God. So in the Bible, we see that God gave a clear responsibility for husbands, wives, and children. This tells us that home is important to God. And that homes that are built on God's plan can have a tremendous effect on a nation and a church. In the same way, when homes go astray, they can bring havoc and have effect on the one that is involved and can disturb God's church. That is why we say that when there is peace in the home, there is peace in the church. Hallelujah. It is important for us as watchmen and watchwomen to do everything possible to protect our home from any danger. A watchman guards his property, his home, from thieves. So as watchmen, we seek to protect our home. Physically, as watchmen, we have to be on ground and know what is going on in our home. If you are a watchman, nothing should take you by surprise. Because once you are at post, you are the first point of contact. And therefore, nothing should take you by surprise. So physically, if you are a watchman, you should know what is going on in your home. You should know what is happening in your home. What is going on in the life of your children? What is going on in the life of your wife? What is going on in the life of your husband? If you don't know what is going on in your home, then you have failed as a watchman. When you are hired by someone to protect his home, and then when the person comes home and see a visitor in the house, believe the owner will call you and question you what the person is doing in the house. And if you are not able to answer what the person is doing in the house, it means that you have failed as a watchman and you are going to be fired. So nothing should take you by surprise as a watchman. You should be able to give account of what is going on. But this morning, I'm going to concentrate on the spiritual aspect of a watchman. As I said, we are not fighting against flesh and blood, but we are fighting against powers of darkness. And therefore, it is important as watchmen for us to stay vigilant, for us to open our eyes and watch and guard our homes. For the enemy is at work. The passage that we just read talks about a man by name Nehemiah. He availed himself for God to use him to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. We know that the people of Israel rebelled against God, and as a result of that, they went into exile. in Babylon. The temple was destroyed, as well as their walls. And we know that walls represent protection for cities. So after they spent their time in exile, many of the Israelites came back home. And Nehemiah saw the need for the walls to be rebuilt. So he took up upon that challenge. Soon as he started the work, he faced opposition. Initially, Sanballat and Tobiah ridiculed the building when they started the work. And what is striking here is that when they realized that the walls had reached half of its height, when they realized that the people were making progress, they became angry and they decided to plot against the people that were on the ground working. This tells us that as families, the peace that you are enjoying in your home upsets people. The peace that you have in your home making your enemy plan against you. To take that peace away from you. And as a watchman, if you fail to recognize that, disaster will knock at your door. We have to be alert as watchmen and watchwomen of our homes. So the opposition became angry when they realized that the work was in progress. This morning, do not take the peace that you have in your home for granted. For we are not fighting against flesh and blood. We are fighting against powers of darkness and principalities that seek the downfall of your home. So we have to be alert as watchmen and guard the happiness and the peace that we have in our home. We should be alert as watchmen. You cannot be a watchman and sleep on post. The enemy can step in, take your weapons from you, and enter your home. And once they get hold, they get inside to your home, disaster starts. When you read the verse 11, it says that when our enemies said before, he said their enemies said, before they know it or see us, we will be right there among them, and we will kill them and put an end to their work. So the enemies planned that before the people realize, they will be in their midst, and they are going to kill them and put an end to the work of God. So then the Jews warned them, the Jews that were living closer to them warned them that do not turn, for if you turn, they will attack. So it means that we have to stay focused and watch. When you take your eyes off the post, the enemy will strike. You see, it takes a little dose behind the steering wheel for one to end up in a big accident on the highway. You can try to close your eyes and begin to walk. And I know that you can only walk for some few meters. You begin to twist and turn. Why? Because your eyes are closed. When alertness is down, disaster knocks at the door. When we become sloppy as watchmen, we are heading towards destruction. The fact that all is well with us in our home doesn't mean that the enemy cannot strike or the enemy is not planning to destroy your home. The strategy of the enemy has still not changed. They come in when the children of God are weak. They come in when we grow weary. They come in when families are going through challenges. They come in when families are going through difficult times. And I need not to overemphasize the times that we are in. We are in a challenging time. Time when there are no peace in our homes. Time where families are fighting among each other. Financial burdens. This is the time that the enemy strikes. So it is important for us to know the times that we are in as watchmen and watchwomen so that we can rise up and defend our home. When alertness is down, disaster knocks at the door. We know that in the olden days, when the cities built their walls to protect their city, they built towers so that the watchmen can also sit on top of the tower and get a better view of their environment. This morning, as watchmen, maybe you've been sitting for so long. I encourage you to rise up and walk around. See what is going on in your home. Climb a little bit and have a better view of what is going on in your environment. In our prisons, I know that they have towers like that so that the watchmen or the guards can stand on top of the towers and see around and have a better view of what is going on. As watchmen for our home, let us climb in prayer. If you used to pray for 30 minutes, we are in a dangerous time and we cannot afford to sleep. We have to rise up and fight for our home. Let us climb in prayer. Let us intercede for our home. For the devil is at work. And we know he strikes when we grow weary. He strikes in challenging times. We cannot afford not to be vigilant as watchmen. Because as soon as we turn, the enemy will strike. Eli failed to watch his home. He failed as a watchman when his children were misbehaving. He failed as a watchman. Therefore, when the disaster strikes, he faced the consequences. As watchmen for our home, we have to take charge. We cannot afford to lose guard. For the enemy is constantly working, bringing up schemes to attack families, to attack homes. What is your strategy? What strategy do you have to counter back? And one thing that is also striking is that when you read the Bible, it says that the enemy, they came together and plotted against the progress of the work. So I ask myself, so our enemies can team up, they can be united and fight for a good cause, a bad cause, then how much more us as family? We have to come together as a family. Gather the people in your home and fight for the good cause. Fight to defend your home. Make sure that there is peace in your home so that you can also plan and fight as a watchman for your family and for your home. I encourage you as a watchman to be an encourager. Nehemiah encouraged the people. He asked them to remember the Lord that they serve. They should remember that the Lord is great and awesome. And for you to remember something, it means that you have a history or you have a testimony. This morning, if you are going through challenges in your home, I want you to remember what God has done for you. Remember the testimonies that you have. You have testimonies in your life. The Israelites, before they went into captivity, enjoyed the protection of God. So I believe that Nehemiah was encouraging them to remember those times so that they will not be discouraged. This morning I encourage you that rise up as a watchman. Remember the old days. Remember when you enjoyed the protection of God. And know that if God was able to deliver you in those days, He is the same God. And He will deliver you. Rise up and watch for your family. Rise up and watch for your home. For the devil is at work. Be ready to take up this challenge. Be ready to watch. Walk around when your kids are sleeping. Check on your kids. Woman of God, go on your knees and pray for your husband. Husband, go on your knees. Pray for your children and your wife. Nehemiah challenged them not to be afraid, but to fight to protect their family, their sons, their daughters, their wives, and their homes. As a Christian woman or a Christian man, a Christian watchman, the source of our strength is God. Do you feel weak as a watchman? Are you growing weary as a watchwoman? Let's run to God for strength. He will grant us the strength for us to move on to protect our families and our homes. This morning, I want to encourage you that as a watchman, you have to stay vigilant at all times. As soon as you turn, as soon as you lose focus, the enemy will strike. pray that the good Lord will strengthen us this morning. The good Lord will open the eyes of our understanding so that we will know that we are not fighting against flesh and blood. We are fighting against powers of darkness. We are fighting against foes. And foes are very wicked. We seek to devour. They are seeking to devour us. They are seeking to destroy your families and your homes. So do not sleep. Let us rise up and fight the battle with prayer as watchmen and watchwomen for our homes. We will enter into a time of prayer. And I want you to pray knowing that the devil is at work. And the peace that you are enjoying in your home is making somebody so angry. It's making your enemy so angry. So you do not have to take your peace that you are enjoying in your home for granted. This morning, may the good Lord bless us. May the good Lord open the eyes of our understanding for us to know that as watchmen, as watchwomen, we have a great responsibility to protect our home. You will enter into